It's Lisa here with the Sound 228. I am here at the Rex Theater in Leonardtown, Maryland. It is night 3 of the Find the Beautiful headline tour for the ladies in Plush. Welcome to Southern Maryland.
Thank you.
It's a pleasure to meet you, ladies. We don't have a lot of time, so I just want to get into it. Quick question about you guys started out your careers in music at such an early age. How critical was it for you to have your parents' support in pursuing his career?
It was very critical. I mean, I started playing around with instruments when I was about 5 years old, and my dad is a guitar player. He's played with Ace Frehley from Kiss, and he was a band with Mike Starr, the original bass player of Alice in Chains. So I looked up to him a lot growing up, and I just really was inspired by him, and I wanted to be just like him. So to have his support while I'm doing what I love, which is also what I love watching him do, made the world of difference to me.
What about you, Faye?
Same here for me. My parents really helped me get into music. For my 10th birthday gift, I actually got a drum set, and that's how I actually started. Because my mom, she always wanted to be a drummer when she was younger, but she was never able to. So she had me do that, and yeah, I loved it ever since. And now I'm here.
See that she gets to live vicariously through you, right?
Yeah,
A little bit.
They support me a lot. I love music too.
Oh, wow. That's amazing. Okay, so what about you, Bella?
Yeah, so my dad owns a music store, so I grew up just always in the shop and playing guitars, or I started working there at a young age, just always being around instruments. So that was definitely had such a huge impact on me between that and growing up around music and all the local bands. So yeah, my first guitar was a birthday present too. That was for my 5th birthday, and my parents were so supportive ever since I was
Your 5th birthday.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Mariah, a lot of people know a little bit about your story because you're obviously on a show to sing. But what was that like for your parents watching you with your music career growing up and supporting you?
It honestly it was the same as everybody else said. They were a critical role in helping me to discover my love for music, and really encouraged me from a young age on. They would always encourage me to do like open mic nights, which I loved. And, they would always, didn't matter where it was on the end of town. It was like, okay, we're going, you know what I mean? Like it was, so if they found like any flyers anywhere for like vocal lessons or music school, they would always be like, hey, is this something that you'd be interested in? And so that's how I ended up getting into vocal lessons and all that stuff. And my dad loves music too. He loves like a lot of the classic 80s stuff. And so I, as a young kid, got into that stuff. And then that's what kind of fostered my love for rock. So yeah, my parents also played a critical role in supporting.
Do you guys have any moments, like things that you might remember of sacrifices maybe that they made that stood out for you, or moments that you can think back to and think, wow, that was a big deal, like critical, pivotal moment and where I'm at with my parents?
For sure. I mean, there's been so many moments all throughout my life of them just, giving them stuff and sacrificing to support me. That's been, so critical. I'm forever thankful for it. Like the first one that always comes to mind for me is growing up in Maine, like the biggest city that a lot of like tours would come through is Boston. So my parents are always cool with like even, so once in a while, like the rules, like if I could make it to school the next day, they'd let me get out early to like bring me down to the city to like go see a rock show. Or it was the same thing of like my dad drove me down to Boston so I could audition for Berkeley, and all these really cool things of like, especially getting to travel down to play gigs and go to shows and all these opportunities. And yeah, just so thankful for it.
Wow. Okay. So they were definitely sacrificing not just their money, but their time, everything else. Are there any other moments that sort of stand out for any of you that you were like, wow, this is a big one?
I used to do School of Rock growing up. I did that for a couple of years through middle school and high school, and it was about an hour from my house. So my dad would drive me, wait in the car for the 3-hour rehearsal and lesson, and wait for me to leave, and then he would go and do something afterwards. So he did that every week.
That is incredible.
I have a similar story to that as well. When I first started playing drums locally for bands around my area, my parents would drive me an hour to rehearsals like a couple times a week too before I even had my license, because they supported me so much. They wanted me to make it, so they didn't care like how much it took to get me there, like how much they had to like sacrifice their own time to help me get there.
Wow, that's incredible. I love hearing those stories because I feel like for so many parents, when their child chooses a musical career, a lot of times it's frowned upon and maybe not supported. So
Yeah.
what advice would you give parents about supporting a child who selects a music career?
Maybe for any career path, just being supportive, and I feel like instead of pushing something, just giving a kid the freedom to explore what they're passionate about. Feel like, you know, you can give advice and give support, but I feel like being there to listen and being there to just, yeah, always kind of, my parents always, you know, remind me if I'm stressed about something, like there are so many avenues you could go, you know, don't always have like that tunnel vision, you know, it's always good to have, but they were always supportive of like, you know, whatever I wanted to pursue as a kid.
Well, you guys are so blessed. You really are. I have to ask, with the touring schedule being so hectic and you guys just got off a really big tour and now you're on this headline tour, what are you doing to try and find balance in every single day?
Oh man. Well, I think it's different for all of us. I know on this tour it's different because there's also like so much downtime too. And it's, you know, I think there's a lot more time to think. So I think like a lot of it is just us finding things to do, you know, that bring us peace and that balance and stuff like that. Whether it's going for walks or just chilling in bed, which is like but you know, stuff like that. For me personally, that's I guess what it is. I really love having a great time after the shows too, like with everybody and the crew and stuff, and getting on the RV and just sharing stories or just, you know, shooting whatever you want to say. But that kind of helps to keep me balanced personally. But I think it's different for everyone, you know.
Anything from you ladies that you want to share about what you're doing to find balance in this town to town, city to city, state to state, across this great country?
I think it's the hardest part of touring because there's so much to see and do, and then there's either so little time or there's so much time, and sometimes you're in a place where there's a lot to do for a little bit of time, and then you're in a place where there's nothing to do for a lot of time. So you have to really vary what you do based off of that. I mean, I like to see what goes on in the area, especially when we're closer to big cities. The other day, we went to a Yankee game, which was so fun. Well, I guess it's an Orioles game, but to me, it's a Yankees game.
Right there. That's
Let's
right.
go.
That's right.
But we lost, so I mean, we didn't lose. We never lose.
No, of course not with the Yankees,
But
right?
stuff like that, like baseball games, other concerts, museums. I love historical sites. I love to be out and about as much as I can. And there's great historical sites here in Leonardtown. We just went to a museum before the show and we saw that historical rock by Tudor Hall.
I am not
The
familiar.
Mull Dyer one.
I'm not familiar.
She was like, you gotta look it up. It's like the legend of Mull Dyer, but she was like a witch, and then she got banished from her town, and then she passed away. But like, she passed away kind of like, I don't know. I think her body was found like on the rock. So.
Okay. Now I'm gonna have to go check it out when we're done here.
You got it. It's right,
I've
right
got
down
one.
the street.
I've got one final question for you. What are you hoping that people take away from your performance for these headline shows? What do you want them to know about Plush when they walk out of the theater?
Well, I hope it could be an inspiration to people that come into it. Because I remember when I was a kid, I would go to concerts. That's really the reason why I wanted to, is like seeing people on the stages. I was like, oh, I wish I could be just like them. So I hope we can inspire our crowd to do music as well and pursue whatever they enjoy.
Yeah, I would agree with that 100%. One thing that I love when we're up on stage is particularly seeing, you know, little kids who are just so excited. Some of them are up there throwing up horns. Some of them are they just are. Like there was this little boy at, I think it was Zen West, or no, the Devonar Music Hall. That was their first show on
In Jersey.
Yeah, in Jersey. And he had his whole getup, like he had his little leather jacket on, and he was just sitting there the whole time, like, yeah, you know, it was just really awesome. And so to piggyback off of what Faith said, I really would hope that we're able to inspire, you know, young kids specifically, but also just anybody, you know, who wants to pursue what they love, and to just show them, like, look, you know, you could do whatever you want.
All right. Well, ladies, I thank you very much for your time. I hope that you have an outstanding set. And it was a pleasure speaking with you. Thank you for coming all the way down to Maryland.
Thanks for having us,
Yeah,
Lisa.
thanks.
Thanks for you.
It's nice to meet you too. You're welcome. All right, that's all we've got for right now. The ladies have got to go perform. So until next time, have a good night.